functions g and h are defined by g of x is equal to 2x plus 5 with the domain minus 1, or x between minus 1 and 3, and h of x is equal to 2x divided by 3x minus 5, and the domain is x is greater than 2 and x is less than or equal to 5. X is greater than or equal to 2 and x is less than or equal to 5. So now we have to find the domain of the inverse of g. Now the rule is that the domain of the function is the range of the inverse, and the range of the function is the domain of the inverse. So if we want to find the domain of the inverse, we have to find the range of the function. And to find the range of the function, we have to substitute -1 into the function, substitute 3 into the function, so that we can get the range of the function. And then the range of the function will be the domain of the inverse. And that's for g. So we're going to find what is g of -1. We're going to substitute -1 in the place of x. So that's 2 times -1 plus 5. 2 times -1 is -2. -2 plus 5. -2 plus 5. That will give us, taking out 2 from 5, that will give us 3. And then we're going to substitute 3 into the function. Not this 3 here. This 3. All right, the other domain value for the function. So this 3 there. So that's a coincidence that we get g of -1 as 3. So we're going to substitute this other 3 there into the function. So that's 2 3 is 6. 6 plus 5, that will give us 11. So the range of the function is from 3 to 11. So therefore, the domain of the inverse now will be that very same 3 to 11. So repetition, the range of g of x is from 3 to 11. That's the range of g of x. Okay. Which is y between 3 and 11. So that's the range of g of x. And this range of g of x will be the domain of the inverse. So the domain of the inverse now of g is x is greater than or equal to 3, less than or equal to 11. So we're going to find an expression for the inverse of g and then the inverse of h. So the first step to find the inverse of g of x is to write down the function. Then we are going to convert g of x, the notation g of x, to the letter y. Then the next step now is to swap the letters x and y. So y becomes x, and then x becomes y. Now the next step now is to try to make y the subject of the equation. So we're going to subtract 5 from both sides, subtract 5 from the right. We're going to subtract 5 from the right, we have to subtract 5 on the left. So we cancel out 5 from the right side, and then we have x minus 5 is equal to 2y. We are making y the subject of the function. So therefore now we have to divide by 2 to cancel out 2. If we divide by 2 on the right, we have to divide by 2 on the left. So therefore 2 cancels out, and we are left with y is equal to, reading from right to left, y is equal to x subtract 5 over 2. And then final step is to replace the letter y with the notation f g inverse of x. So g inverse of x, yes, g of x. So now we can substitute that to have g inverse of x is equal to x minus 5 over 2. Now we have to repeat the same thing for h now. So the first step to find h, the inverse of h of x, is to write down the function h of x, which is 2x divided by 3x minus 5. Now we have to substitute notation h of x to the letter y. Then we have to swap the letters x and y. So all where we see y, we have to write x. And all where we see x, we have to write y. Now we have to try to make y the subject of the function. Now what we have to do is to cancel out that denominator, that 3x, 3y minus 5, by multiplying by 3y minus 5. To cancel it out, multiply by 3y minus 5 on the right, and we have to multiply by 3y minus 5 on the left. So the 3y minus 5 cancels out, and what we are left with now is x outside of 3y minus 5 equals to y. Now we are trying to make y the subject of the function, so we have to clear out these brackets. So we have to multiply by x. So x times 3y, that will give us 3xy. And x times minus 5 will give us minus 5x. Now we have to bring the y's together. So first we're going to cancel out minus 5x by adding 5x on both sides. So if you add 5x on the left, we have to add 5x on the right. So this cancels out 5x from the left. So what we are left with is 3xy is equal to 2y plus 5x. Now we're going to cancel out 2y. We're going to try to bring the y's together, cancel out 2y by minusing 2y on the right. If we minus 2y on the right, we have to minus 2y on the left. So the 2y cancel out from the right. So now we have all the y's on the left now. So what we have to do now is to get one y by factoring out the y, because y is a common factor between 3xy and minus 2y. So we're going to factor out y. So y outside of 3x minus 2. And now we're going to divide by 3x minus 2. Cancel out 3x minus 2 from the left. If we divide by 3x minus 2 on the left, we have to divide by 3x minus 2 on the right. So 3x minus 2 cancels out from the left, and what we are left with, y is equal to 5x divided by 3x minus 2. And now we're going to replace the letter y with h inverse of x. So h inverse of x is equal to 5x over 3x minus 2. So part C is saying find the value of x if g inverse of x is equal to minus 2. Okay, so if g inverse of x is equal to minus 2, then we can solve for x by substituting minus 2 into g inverse of x. So we know g inverse of x is equal to x minus 5 over 2. Okay. And the question said G inverse of x is also equal to negative 2. Let's verify. Right, so G inverse of x is also equal to negative 2. So consequently, x minus 5 over 2 is equal to negative 2. So now we can use this now solve for x. So what we need to do is to cancel out 2 by multiplying by 2 on both sides. So if you multiply by 2 on the left, we have to multiply by 2 on the right. So we're going to have x minus 5, because x minus 5 divided by 2 multiplied by 2 will leave us with only x minus 5 on the left, is equal to negative times 2 is negative 4. And now to cancel out negative 5, we have to add 5 on the left. And if we add 5 on the left, we have to add 5 on the right. So then we're going to have x is equal to negative 4 plus 5. So x is equal to 1.